Alright, YouTube. Gonna do this one again. I bumped the button and killed it instead of putting it back off a pause. And I don't have any way to edit these kind of jazz, so we just have to do it this way. Have the copper coils off this old monstrosity of a wood stove. And just to put it blunt, even at 100-foot long, that's what those are, is that coil right there. Bad Andy, shielded and all, it was just not enough. The heat from the stove would literally run you out of the house without, it's just too small to get heat from the fire into the copper without the copper being in direct path of the fire. And that's what this project is all for. Underneath this bell is a nozzle that I cast out of, it's a high temperature type concrete. It's calcium aluminate, because I know somebody's going to ask me that one. Is down here, this is calcium silicate. It's a lower temp, maybe 2,000 degrees. It fills these voids. Did real nice. It comes up to about right there. And then let me pause this and hopefully turn it back on. Ah, yes. The miracles of getting it right. Here's the nipple or nozzle, and it's made like a ceramic kind of coating. It's just like soot, but the kind of like soot that you get. I was doing this earlier in another video, and I was scratching much harder than that. Or I mean, I had something to scratch with, is what I'm saying. My fingernail can't even get through it. It's kind of crystally, if you can. I don't know if it'll show that, but there's like little crystals in it. Not real sure what the stuff is. It could be sodium silicate or something being released from the refractory cement as it was curing. Don't really know what that is. It could just be soot from the fire, just burnt at a really high temperature. You know, I mean, that's all it could, you know, nothing more. A couple ideas that I've had on this to get it hotter is down inside, if you can look down in there. Yep, I think so. Is coming up the back wall with like an S-bend an air tube that'll allow the flame to oxidize and get a little bit hotter, and come all the way down into the firebox and go through the bottom into the ash pan down below. And but other than that, y'all, that's about it for this. I did want to show you this, like I said, this nozzle and how it was cast, because the one video got cut off. And here is the exhaust back over in here, and you can see how clean it is. And that's even with all the dust that this refractory cement made as it was setting off or whatever, curing. It kind of like bubbled and made a funky dust. And that's what you're seeing down in there. I don't know if I can zoom in on that or not. Not and make it any more visible for y'all. But there's like a concrete dust. But other than that, I've taken this all apart, and the pipe is really clean. Here's a section that I took out of it. It's exceptionally clean. It has, like I said, like a diesel soot. That's about the best you can say. And but as far as a rocket stove, a true rocket design, and when I mean that is the temperature comes up, it heats this nozzle. The nozzle is getting hotter. The the fuel and everything comes up with an oxidation source inside the bell, and that's going to cause complete combustion, or the best it can. Even without that oxidizing tube in there, it's combusting really nice. It'll do better with it inside the bell here, and then it goes out the port down below. So this, even though it has about that much room to come over the top of that nozzle, you know, the air is circulating and expanding in there. The nozzle itself is an extremely hot temperature, and the fuel can't escape because the inside of that bell is like right here, and it has to pass within the temperature again of this, and then this from the bottom up is going to be insulated as well on the outside, and then the tubing will start about right there, the tubing coils, but on the back side, you know, it'll start right about there. And then the tubing coils will be for the top section of this. So this section will never cool off. That's the idea. This is allowed to for any of the radiant escape, because the tubing, the coils are not going to be in contact with the fire. They're going to be in that dead space, like an insulated space. So it won't actually cool the chamber off very much, but it'll absorb as much heat as possible. And I've made this silly video so many times, so if I've already said this one, ignore it and just go on, okay? But the backfill for this around these pipes, around these tubes, that when I put it back in, is I'm going to take and use hydrated lime, just pure, with water, just make a slurry of it, and just fill the void. So it's a thermal contact all the way through. I might get elaborate and go, something more like sodium silicate, something like that. But we'll see then, but I don't think so. It'll just make a solid void for the copper not to be indirect with the fire, but as direct as it can be. But we'll see what that plays out. Okay, guys, let me end this one because it's getting long, and tell me if all y'all would want to do like a haven for like these minivan camper people, that move around the country. Because I'm kind of into that. Really, I was big into it before I was paralyzed. Had a bus and all back home. But now I'm still wanting to do it. But I would like to be more like the machine shop place that fixes the places up. Because you got to need that. I need to keep that in my thought. But that's just a thought. Kick it around. But because there's a lot of these van people that need repair. Like real repair. And machining work and stuff like that, metal work, is kind of what I enjoy to do, more than the hemp even. I only got into the hemp because nobody else was doing it. So, but I do enjoy the hemp, and we're going to get back into those videos as well, just not at the minute, and we got a couple more projects to do. This pipe needs to be double stacked in there, the stove put over here, all this jazz, the big tank goes back upstairs, or if that's where it can end up. The stove needs to get out of here with some help get some big strong kids from the pool, come over and help me move the stove out of here. And then this will all be masonry in here. And this will be there, and it'll double back and forth, and it'll go around and out. And then all, the concrete board I'll make with the hemp. I can make all the concrete stuff anymore. But all out of hemp, and then backfilled, and a molded bench is going to be put in here. But, okay, they're really long. Thank you all for watching these things, for sharing, subscribing, just putting up with all the crazy crap I dream up with. All right, talk to you then. Stay safe, and be good with this COVID stuff. And hopefully we get a better year. 2020 was just not so good.